go, coffee. Gotta have your coffee, man. Gotta stay awake. So I had a comment, somebody comment saying, you Democrats, you voted a policy in that favored immigrants to come over into the country, too many immigrants to come over into the country, and that's the reason why housing prices and cost of living and all of that stuff continues to go up. So my response to that comment is that, number one, I don't consider myself a part of any of these fake ass social groups. The red, the blue, the Democrats, the Republicans, the secret society. I don't consider myself representing any of them, because at the end of the day, they're all storytellers. I represent myself. I represent my family. Maybe a long time ago, I was at the point where, I was looking at all of these different political groups and stuff like that at an early age, voting age. That's what I call an early age. Because I was taught that, oh man, as soon as you turn 18, man, you gotta go out there and you gotta vote. You gotta vote. Because you gotta hear your voice. You hear your voice and people know it. This, that, and the third. Well, come to find out, that's all bullshit. Because in retrospect, whatever politician that they want to be in the office is going to be in office, because they got enough oligarch funding in order to put these politicians into the position that they want. You don't have no control over that. How do you even know that they're reading your votes? How do you know that? But the main topic of the video is, are we working for free? Because I see a lot of videos of people, talking about, being paycheck to paycheck and how it's tough to find jobs, and the list goes on. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to, are we working for free, it's starting to really kind of come to light that, yeah, I think we are working for free. There's different spectrums to, answering that question. Because when you think about it, like our money is so reciprocal, right? All it does is it seems like it goes in this revolving circle, right? This ever going revolving circle. And it kind of keeps us, in motion. Like it keeps us kind of like, it's like we're chasing our tails in a sense. We wake up, we, get ready, go to work, work 9-10 hours, get off of there, go to Uber Eats, go do some driving in order to make some money, or whatever your side hustle may be. And then after that, you got to get ready to pay some bills, right? You got to, get your utility bills, you got to get your water bill, you got to get your electric bill, your heating bill, your rent, your mortgage. Now you got to say, well, where all of the rent and the mortgage? Like, when I go and I work for that, I give it to the mortgage company or to the owner, as rent. They take it, and what do they do with it? They go stash that shit in the bank. And what does the bank do with it? The bank takes it right out, and they use it to go and flip and capitalize in order to make more investments to feed the bank. And what do? Well, we get up, we get ready, we go to work, sit in the traffic, go to work, clock in, work 9-10 hours, Monday through Friday, every single week. And then what do? We got more bills to pay every 30 days. Every 30 days, we got more bills to pay: utilities, electric bill, water bill, mortgage, rent. And where does that money go? Back to the owner, back to the mortgage company. Where does that money go? To the bank. So as you can see, all it is a revolving circle, right? Now the question is, are we able to save any money? Where does you being able to save any money come in? Because it feels like you're just working to be working. Like a lot of people are watching this video and they just want to know, are they going crazy? Because it seems like they're doing everything right. They're doing everything that they're supposed to do, and they just want to save a little bit of money and not feel like they're just doing this shit to be doing it. But when you look at the big picture, if you ever look at the big picture, you notice, like I said, it's in a revolving circle. You get the money, you give the money, they give it to the bank, you go back, get the money, you get the money, you give it away, they give it back to the bank. Right? So then you say, well, where am I going to be able to show any type of benefit to myself, to my family? Now, some of you guys are probably like, well, you got a house, you got a roof over your head, you should be grateful. You should be, getting on your knees and showing thanks. Well, that's not it. That's not it. You should not have to be grateful for the fucking work that you put in. Not nobody else. You put that work in. Not no floating man. You put that work in. So my theory, my thought process is like, at what point do you see any type of benefit of saving or anything like that? Because remember, you got cost of living. And cost of living is also now included with hyperinflation. So that completely takes your savings out of the question. Snatch it, right? Like interception. You guys watch football? Interception. That's inflation. So now you're like, okay, cool. Well, fuck, I can't save now. That little, $100, $200, $300, $400 I was able to try to put aside, for a rainy day or, for that vacation that we was taking. I don't got that shit no more because it just deteriorates because of hyperinflation. Every time I turn around, this same product that I was buying for $10 is now $30. And it just compounds. It compounds and it compounds. So then that thought comes and that question comes, am I working for free? At what point does a person that's working is going to be able to benefit from all of the work? Let me say it again. At what point is the person that's doing all the work is going to be able to benefit from the work? And I know a lot of you guys are still defending the fact that some people are doing every fucking thing right. From, going to school, getting the college degree. After they get the degree, they go out, look for the job. It may take 6 months, but they still get the job after it takes 6 months. And then they work the job for 2 or 3 years, and then they get laid off, and then they got to do it again. And then, when is this shit gonna stop? It's a ever-going circle, man. And I want you guys to tell me where I'm wrong. And a lot And a lot of movies you guys probably watch, and you guys watch movies. I know. The reason why I know is because when I go to Barnes and Nobles, there's a lot of fucking books on the shelf. There's a lot of books on the shelf, and they ain't getting sold out anytime soon. So when I say you guys are watching a lot of movies, I know you guys seen The Matrix. In The Matrix represents a lot of key detail of what happens here in the US of A. The reason why they can't teach the type of stuff that I'm talking about on a higher intellectual level, the reason why they can't teach this in grade school is because if people caught on to the fact that after they spent so much time in school, that after they get out of school and they gotta go get a job, that they would realize that everything would be fucking pointless because they would never be able to get to a significant point in order to be able to stop. Because remember, some people just want a peace of mind. They don't care for all of the, the Hollywood shit, the celebrity shit. I gotta be rich. Some people just don't care for all of that. And I understand, because it's just too much. It's just too much of trying to impress, this, that, and the third. Some people just want a peace of mind, and they should be able to get that shit. But how can you do that if nothing ever stops? This shit just keeps going and going and going. A lot of you Gen X's, millennials, remember that little Energizer bunny back in the day on the commercials. Just kept what? You guys remember that shit just kept going and going. Remember it used to hit the drum and shit, right? It used to hit the drum, kept going, and man, I don't know why that commercial used to crack me up. But that's what it is. That's what U.S. society is. And I wish more people would get an understanding that that's where we're going. This stuff never gonna end. At what point are you supposed to take 6 months out for yourself, 12 months out for yourself, 1 year out for yourself? You don't think you deserve that? You think that you need to work every single day, every hour of the day? That's why you think you was put here? Out of the millions and millions of sperms that made it to that egg, and you got here, you think that you're placed here because you just got to work every single day. Who told you that? Who told you that? It's crazy. You gotta really open your mind, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we're at a point here in this country where, you gotta at some point say enough is enough. And like I said, I feel for you guys. I don't believe that you're crazy, because I often wonder the same type of questions. And then some people just don't keep it 100 with you. Everybody wants to be, with the whole rah-rah stuff. And that's cool and all, but that shit expires at some point. You just got to keep it real. You got to figure out what is going to be the solution. How can you get out of this mess? But the first thing is to be able to understand that you're dealing with something crazy. You cannot sit there and act like this shit is just supposed to be what it is. That being said, guys, I appreciate you guys taking a listen to this video. My name is St. Nicholas Brand. You guys have a good one. Peace.